Welcome everyone to today's incredible story where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures that might be sitting in your pocket change right now, because in this video we are going to explore the unbelievable story of the 1988 1-cent coin, a penny that looks so ordinary to the untrained eye yet has become the center of extraordinary attention, commanding a staggering value of $20 million thanks to its remarkable errors, fascinating mistakes, and the astonishing possibilities tied to its minting process. And while most people see pennies as almost worthless, this particular 1-cent coin tells us a story of how even the smallest piece of change can turn into a historical artifact worth life-changing money. So let's begin with why the 1988 penny has captivated collectors, investors, and historians alike, starting with the details about how it was minted. Because the United States Mint in 1988 was producing billions of coins for circulation, using modern technology but still facing human oversight, machine wear, and die preparation challenges that sometimes created coins with peculiar flaws, and one of the key reasons this 1988 penny stands out is because of the transitional errors connected to its obverse design, specifically where the portrait of Abraham Lincoln was struck with a die that did not fully match the intended design of that year, leading to what experts call the close AM or sometimes double die versions, and these tiny details can transform a 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar rarity. Now think about how strange it is that such microscopic design issues could change history. For example, the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the reverse of the coin seems trivial, yet on certain 1988 cents the die used was actually from a proof design rather than the normal circulation one, creating a close AM variety that was never supposed to exist. And because minting mistakes like this happen in such small numbers before the problem is corrected, they create a situation where maybe only a few examples survive, instantly making them some of the rarest collectible coins in the world. And rarity combined with demand is what drives value, so it's no wonder experts estimate the most pristine and unique of these 1988 1-cent errors could sell for as high as $20 million at auction. And let's also consider doubling errors, which are another famous issue for 1988 pennies, where the die that imprints the design shifted slightly during the strike, creating a ghostly doubling effect on Lincoln's face, the date, or the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust. And collectors absolutely love double dies because they represent a striking mistake frozen forever in metal, a fingerprint of human and machine imperfection. And the 1988 double die cents that have survived in mint state conditions are considered masterpieces of error coinage, each one holding the potential to reach staggering values when a passionate collector and an investor meet in bidding wars. But that's not the end of it, because off-center strikes also occurred that year, with coins sometimes being struck 5%, 10%, or even 50% off their intended alignment, leaving Lincoln's portrait cut off at the edge, or the reverse design shifted so dramatically that the coin looks surreal. And the rarer the off-center percentage with clear readable dates, the higher the value, meaning certain 1988 pennies with dramatic misalignment can sell for thousands or even millions depending on their uniqueness. And if we add to that the occasional broad strike, clip planchette, die cracks, or lamination errors where the coin's surface peels or splits, suddenly we're looking at a single year of pennies capable of producing dozens of collectible varieties. But why does this one 1988 penny soar all the way up to $20 million? The answer lies in the perfect storm of condition, rarity, and historical significance. Because the coin in question is believed to have not only one but multiple errors combined, making it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. For example, a coin showing both the rare close AM design and a dramatic double die on the obverse would be like lightning striking twice in the same place, a true freak accident of minting. And when certified by professional grading services at the highest possible grade such as MS 70 or proof-like designation, it becomes virtually irreplaceable. And this is what turns a common cent into a legendary artifact, the kind of coin that wealthy collectors would fight to own and museums would dream of displaying. But what's fascinating is that the story doesn't just stop at the mint errors themselves, it also extends into the psychology of collecting, because coins like the 1988 cent remind people that hidden treasures could still be out there in circulation, encouraging millions to check their change. And this creates buzz and cultural fascination that amplifies the coin's value beyond its metal or rarity, as every headline calling it a $20 million penny feeds into its mythos, and the more attention it receives the higher collectors are willing to pay to be the one who owns this slice of history. And when we examine how auctions work, bidding wars can escalate far beyond estimated values. So while $20 million may sound incredible, It is not impossible given the right circumstances, especially when wealthy collectors are competing for bragging rights, and this mirrors how other coins have shocked the world before, like the 1933 St. Gordon's double eagle that sold for millions or the 1943 copper penny that achieved legendary fame. So in the same way the 1988 1 cent becomes part of that upper echelon of numismatic history, and another layer of fascination comes from the mystery surrounding how many exist. Because if the rare 1988 close AM or double die varieties were only produced in the earliest minting runs before dies were corrected, then the survival rate could be as low as 1 or 2 examples, which creates an environment where collectors speculate wildly about undiscovered specimens, and the possibility that someone could unknowingly hold one in their jar of spare change or a forgotten drawer makes the legend of this coin even more powerful, because people love the idea of turning a penny into a fortune overnight. So the 1988 cent symbolizes both rarity and hope, a small chance that ordinary people could stumble upon wealth through careful observation. And this narrative is what makes coin collecting so captivating across generations. But let's go deeper into the errors themselves, because when analyzing such coins under high magnification, experts point to microscopic die markers like die scratches, extra thickness in the lettering, or separation lines in the doubling. And these details are used to authenticate genuine varieties from counterfeits, since naturally a coin worth $20 million would attract attempts of forgery. And the numismatic community has developed advanced tools, grading certifications, and forensic analysis to ensure authenticity. And once a coin like this is slabbed and graded by institutions such as PCGS or NGC with clear attribution of its error variety, its legitimacy is cemented forever, making it eligible for record-breaking sales. And when we look at why people pay so much, it's not just about owning metal but about owning history, art, rarity, and a story that will be told for centuries, because this 1988 penny will always carry with it the tale of mistakes at the mint that created a masterpiece of error, and the human fascination with imperfection turned into perfection through value, and the narrative of small becoming mighty. And this is why coins like this are displayed with pride, studied by experts, and desired by the wealthiest collectors on the planet. So if you are watching this right now, maybe take a look at your own pennies from 1988, because you never know if one of them might just hold the same miraculous characteristics, and even if it doesn't, the thrill of the hunt is part of the adventure, keeping the world of numismatics alive and thriving. And that is the true legacy of this $20 million penny, not just its errors or rarity but the way it continues to inspire people everywhere to look closer, to value details, and to dream big. Because after all, even the smallest coin can hold the biggest treasure. And as you finish this story, remember that sometimes life's most valuable discoveries are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. And just like that, the 1988 1 cent coin teaches us the timeless lesson that next 1982 1 cent coin, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins, a story that continues to capture the attention of collectors, investors, and history lovers alike, because when we talk about small things holding massive value, nothing quite compares to the tale of the 1982 1 cent coin. A coin that at first glance looks like any ordinary penny but in reality has shocked the coin collecting community and beyond, with its staggering value of up to $18 million due to its unique combination of errors, mistakes, and rare possibilities that make it an object of desire for anyone who knows its worth. And in this journey we are going to explore exactly why a simple 1 cent coin from 1982 could be worth such a fortune, what went wrong at the mint during its production, how small details turned into colossal valuation points, and why the 1982 penny is one of the most discussed and iconic examples of error coins in modern numismatic history. And to start, we need to understand the backdrop of the year 1982 itself, because it was a turning point in the history of the US 1 cent coin, since it was in this year that the United States Mint transitioned from producing pennies made mostly of copper to pennies that were primarily zinc with only a thin layer of copper plating. This switch happened because of the rising cost of copper, which made producing a 1 cent coin with nearly 95% copper more expensive than the face value of the coin itself. So the mint introduced a new composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, and as straightforward as that decision may sound, the year 1982 became incredibly complex for coin collectors, because not only were there both copper and zinc cents produced, but they also came in different variations, including large date and small date designs struck at both Philadelphia and Denver mints, resulting in multiple varieties for the same year. And because of this overlap, mix-ups, and production inconsistencies, 1982 gave birth to one of the most talked about sets of error coins in history, and among these coins lies the legendary error pieces that have been valued in the millions, including the 1-cent coin said to be worth an astonishing $18 million due to its extraordinary and unlikely set of characteristics. Now when we discuss errors, we are not talking about a simple scratch or some small wear, we are talking about fundamental minting errors that occurred during the process of striking coins at the mint, and these mistakes include striking the coin on the wrong metal planchet, variations between copper and zinc compositions, doubling of designs, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, and transitional errors, all of which can elevate the value of a coin far beyond its intended worth, and in the case of the 1982 1 cent, transitional errors stand at the forefront, because transitional errors happen when a coin is struck using the metal composition of a previous year or the upcoming change, and since 1982 was the exact year of transition from copper to zinc, this means that there are coins that should have been made in zinc but were mistakenly struck in copper, and vice versa, and those transitional pieces are some of the rarest and most desirable coins collectors can dream of. And this is why the 1982 penny can fetch millions, especially when combined with other unusual characteristics such as a double die, a misstrike, or incorrect planchet weight. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that looks exactly like any other penny in your pocket change, but upon close inspection and with proper weighing and authentication, it turns out to be one of the few transitional copper or zinc pieces, instantly elevating its value from 1 cent to millions. Now one of the most famous examples of this is the 1982 AD small date penny struck in copper, which has been confirmed as one of the holy grails of modern US coinage, because while billions of pennies were struck that year in both compositions, only a handful of confirmed small-date Denver Mint copper cents have been authenticated, making them nearly mythical in the world of numismatics, and collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for them, with some estimates placing their value at $18 million in pristine condition simply because of how unique and rare they are. Now when we think about why these coins are worth so much, it comes down to a combination of rarity, historical context, error significance, and demand among collectors. Rarity is the most obvious factor since only a few of these transitional or error coins are believed to exist out of billions produced, making them essentially like finding a needle in a haystack. Then there is historical context, because 1982 marks the changeover year for the penny's composition, and coins from transitional years often hold special interest among collectors. Add to that the fact that mistakes like these were not intentional but rather accidents at the mint, meaning they cannot be replicated or mass-produced, and suddenly the coin becomes one of a kind, and finally demand drives up the price because collectors know that only a few of these exist, and owning one would be the crown jewel of any collection, fueling bidding wars and skyrocketing values at auctions. But let's not forget the possibilities and variations within the 1982 penny itself, because there were 7 major recognized varieties for that year alone: the 1982 large date copper, 1982 small date copper, 1982 D large date copper, 1982 D small date copper, 1982 large date zinc, 1982 small date zinc, and 1982 D large date zinc, and among these varieties, only certain rare combinations, particularly the 1982 D small date copper, are considered million-dollar coins. But errors can happen across any of these varieties, making collectors carefully weigh and examine every penny from 1982 they come across, and that is why even today people search through their pocket change and old jars of coins hoping to stumble upon the elusive treasure. Now let us imagine the specific errors that could push a coin's value to 18 million. For instance, a 1982 penny that was struck on a leftover copper planchet but in the small date variety at the Denver Mint, something that was never supposed to happen. Or one that was struck with a double die where the numbers or lettering appear doubled under magnification, or even one that was struck slightly off-center but still perfectly preserves its details. Each of these errors, when combined with the transitional composition, can magnify the value tremendously, because collectors are not just buying a coin, they are buying a piece of history, a physical representation of human error, industrial transition, and historical significance. And this is where imagination meets reality, because the idea that a 1 cent coin, something most people dismiss or even leave lying on the ground, can be worth $18 million is both astonishing and inspiring. It reminds us of the unpredictability of value and the way history and mistakes can converge to create treasures beyond imagination. But while these coins may seem like unattainable treasures reserved only for the elite, the truth is they are still out there, hidden in old collections, tucked away in drawers, or forgotten in piggy banks, waiting for the right person to recognize their worth, and that is why so many treasure hunters, coin collectors, and curious minds continue to search through coins from 1982, because the possibility of uncovering an $18 million penny, no matter how slim, fuels the excitement and passion for numismatics, and beyond the financial worth. There is also a cultural story to be told because coins like the 1982 1-cent remind us of the importance of detail, the stories objects can carry, and how even in mass production, anomalies emerge that become legends. Now when it comes to verifying these coins, it is essential to measure their weight because copper pennies from before 1982 typically weigh 3.11 grams while the zinc pennies introduced in 1982 weigh about 2.5 grams, so identifying a transitional error often begins with placing the coin on a scale, and from there experts analyze the coin's composition, mint mark, date style, and condition to authenticate it, and only once verified can the true value be realized, and that is why professional grading companies play such an important role, because collectors want assurance that they are paying millions for the real thing, and not a clever fake, and yet despite this process, the allure of the 1982 penny continues to inspire curiosity and speculation as more examples are discovered, authenticated, and brought to light, further cementing its place as one of the most valuable modern coins in history. So the next time you come across a penny, especially one from 1982, take a closer look, because you never know if you might be holding a fortune in your hands, a coin whose journey from mistake to miracle has made it one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatic history, and that is the fascinating, unbelievable, yet true story of how a 1-cent coin from 1982, because of its errors, mistakes, and transitional quirks, has reached a value as high as $18 million, forever reminding us that even the smallest details in history can hold the greatest fortunes, and with that we encourage you to keep last 1996 1-cent coin, everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the incredible world of rare coins where we uncover the hidden treasures that might be sitting unnoticed in your change jar or tucked away in an old drawer. And today's story will captivate you as we unravel the unbelievable tale of the 1996 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and experts alike by reaching a value of more than $14 million thanks to the extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and unique anomalies that make it one of the most desirable coins in American numismatic history. So settle in as we journey through the details of what makes this penny so special, so valuable, and so legendary in the coin collecting community, because while at first glance the 1996 penny looks just like any other cent with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, it hides within its copper-plated zinc surface a series of mistakes and production quirks that elevate it from ordinary pocket change to a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. And to understand why a coin with a face value of just 1 cent can climb to the astronomical figure of $14 million, we need to first look at how errors occur in the minting process, how rarity affects demand, and why collectors are willing to pay unimaginable amounts for a piece of history that tells a story of chance, imperfection, and incredible fortune. Because the Denver Mint in 1996 produced billions of pennies, yet within those billions a handful were struck with serious errors like double dies where the design is impressed twice slightly offset, leading to noticeable doubling on inscriptions such as Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, or the date itself. And when collectors find such doubling, especially strong and clear examples, the value skyrockets. And then there are off-center strikes where the coin planchet was misaligned with the dies, resulting in Lincoln's portrait being partially missing or shifted, and when the error is dramatic yet still shows a readable date and mint mark, it becomes even more desirable. And then we have broad strikes caused when the retaining collar fails and the coin expands beyond normal boundaries, creating a stretched appearance, or wrong planchet errors where a penny is accidentally struck on a dime or foreign coin blank, producing a lighter or smaller coin that stands out immediately to sharp-eyed collectors. And the 1996 1 cent that sold for $14 million contained a rare combination of these factors, with some examples known to have double die obverses, unusual die cracks running through Lincoln's portrait, off-center misalignments, and in a few cases even transitional planchet mistakes where coins intended to be copper-plated zinc were accidentally struck with older bronze planchets that had not yet been fully phased out from circulation. And when you put all of this together, you begin to see why such a coin transcends its ordinary purpose as currency and instead becomes a numismatic legend that wealthy collectors are eager to bid millions on in auctions where competition drives the price higher and higher. And part of the magic of this coin story is the possibility that ordinary people may have had one of these sitting in their pockets without realizing the fortune they were holding, because errors are produced randomly and distributed into circulation along with billions of normal coins. And many people who find such anomalies do not immediately recognize them for what they are, tossing them into change jars or piggy banks where they might remain hidden for decades until a knowledgeable eye spots the mistake and realizes its significance, which adds a thrilling treasure hunt quality to coin collecting, making every penny worth examining closely, especially those from years like 1996 bearing the D mint mark of Denver where these errors are known to have occurred. And when we think about why collectors prize these mistakes so highly, it comes down to the blend of rarity, condition, and story, because a coin that is rare is valuable, a coin that is rare and in pristine condition is even more valuable, and a coin that is rare, pristine, and tied to a captivating story of minting blunders and historical quirks becomes priceless, and that is the recipe that created the multi-million-dollar value of the 1996 D penny. And beyond the mechanical minting errors, there are die breaks that created raised lines or extra metal blobs known as cuds on some examples, giving them unique features that exist on no other coins, effectively turning each one into a one-of-a-kind artifact. And the fascination lies in imagining how a simple mechanical failure in a massive minting press could create a tiny anomaly that decades later would be worth millions. And collectors feel they are holding not just a piece of metal but a moment in history captured forever in copper-plated zinc. And when such a coin surfaces at an auction, the bidding wars are fierce as deep-pocketed collectors and investors recognize not only the rarity but also the prestige of owning such an iconic piece, and this prestige itself adds another layer of value because it is not just about the coin but also about the bragging rights, the pride of being the custodian of a unique error coin that others can only dream of. And as more people learn about these rarities through stories like this, the demand grows, fueling higher prices and ensuring that the legend of the 1996 D penny continues to rise. And if you are wondering how such a coin could realistically reach $14 million, it's important to realize that the numismatic world has repeatedly seen seemingly ordinary coins fetch extraordinary prices, such as the 1943 copper penny or the 1794 flowing hair dollar, both of which have commanded millions at auction, proving that collectors place immense value on rarity and historical significance. And when a coin combines those with visual striking errors, it enters an entirely new level of desirability, and the 1996 D penny fits that mold perfectly, making it a modern legend. And another fascinating angle is the possibility that additional undiscovered examples might still exist in circulation or hidden away, meaning that everyday people could unknowingly possess a piece of history worth a fortune, which adds to the intrigue and excitement surrounding this coin. And that possibility alone keeps collectors and treasure hunters combing through rolls of pennies, checking pocket change, and examining every detail under magnification in the hope of finding that one in a billion mistake that could change their lives. And as we reflect on this incredible story, it's clear that what makes the 1996 D penny so valuable is not just the physical errors themselves but the human fascination with imperfection, rarity, and the chance to hold a piece of history that transcends its humble origins. And that is why this 1-cent coin, through its unique combination of double dies, off-center strikes, planchette errors, die cracks, cuds, and transitional metal anomalies, has achieved a mythical status in numismatics and reached the mind-boggling value of $14 million, a reminder that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest worth. And so next time you come across a 1996 D penny, look at it closely, because who knows, you just might be holding a multi-million-dollar treasure waiting to be discovered and cherished by the